if everyone is physically, if not emotionally prepared, I will share the results of our highly unscientific poll because it was just like 3 people.
I'm not even sure Rich got round to voting, did you?
Yeah,
No,
it
I missed
expired.
it.
I didn't set it up. I set it up and it expired before the session. I was like, well, that was dumb. There wasn't a way to edit it. So I was like, okay, well, next time, if I ever do another poll, I will, I will do it differently.
I mean, to be fair, we've been on computer today, so we should have sorted it for her, but I forgot all about it. So.
But you forgot there was a session, and
yeah,
and it expired like 2 hours ago. So it's like the time when people would have jumped on and last minute answered has long passed. So it's not, a fair sampling. I mean, we would reject this as being significant scientifically, but everyone has agreed. There's a consensus that we are going to forget how Fantasy Grounds works today.
I'm fairly sure Rich did say that to me the other night when I read out the options. So.
And I knew you had voted because there was a vote for Lord Jomont is useless. That's how I knew Grim had voted. So I don't think I have any housekeeping, because when I look at my housekeeping section of my notes, it's all the housekeeping notes from last session. So I was on top of things. I'm making it happen. Okay. It's because I'm creating new problems in Fantasy Grounds that I'm going to have to fix next month. That's what I did this month. So, a summary of last session, session 31. Was it 31? Are we actually on 32?
Well, I've got 34 for the last one, but I've got a few that I don't think you count from.
I think I started a new county scheme from when we picked up as a regular campaign whereas you count in the Hive episodes.
Yeah.
That was kind of like initially supposed to be limited.
It was like a prequel.
Yeah, the prequel. So just 2 different numbering schemes. So we could be on session 30, we could be on session 32, we could be on session 48. It's just, what's your math? Do you use the new math? Do you use the, could be like an Aztec counting system? But last session, whatever number that was, saw the party finally confronting Vanyan Brosfeather. Along the way, you battled a one-handed zombie giant, and you had to contend with the inevitable betrayal of Polton Grey, who literally stabbed Yelena in the back.
Good.
Ouch.
Through judicious fireballs and smiting, you focused on severing the tether that Terel could see with her true sight blessing from Maliki that linked Brosfeather to the dire wood. And with that tether vanquished, the undead, including Brosfeather, lost their aggression and hunger. The shadows clouding Zelbros parted, and what remained of the legions of living dead began to wander placidly en masse back to the high forest. In the aftermath, Lord Jomont, Lord Garen Ravenshade, Vina tore that chick with the wagon, and her Uncle Fetty. I don't know if you remember any of these NPCs anymore. It's been long enough. They all arrived 6 seconds too late to be of any help whatsoever. Likewise, the High Priestess of the Crushing Wave, her captain with his alligator-drawn chariot, and the emissary Flo, whose capture by the Wrath of Glass caused so much trouble in Succumber, they appeared as well. The priestess was apparently displeased with Zelbros, that Zelbros had claimed some of her river minions for his army, and after some cryptic words about the river touch not being with you, and a potential alliance in the future, the water cultists departed in favor of taking potshots at the retreating undead. The survivors of Zelbros gathered, and you learned that out of a village of 800, only 16 adults and 20 children, 18 among them orphans, headed to the workshop, maybe, survived.
Going to the workhouse.
Earning your keep, kiddos. Seeing this as too few people to restart a village, Terel volunteered that they should join the caravan to Parnast. After some deliberation, the survivors decided to join the journey eastward. Warden Culpepper, intending to report to the Shrine of Axes, which is in part dedicated to Shantea. Likewise, part of it is dedicated to Maliki. And then another part is to whoever that winter chick is. Name escapes me for the moment.
Elsa.
No, not Elsa. It's not
Oh.
Elsa, though I could see where the confusion would come up because there's Oral. That's her name, Oral. And then Angarad, who you've got a statue in a bag or in a wagon somewhere that you're supposed to take there for the Emerald Enclave.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I'd forgotten all about this statue.
That's still going on. You're like working the job. You're getting it done just really, really slowly. It's going to take years. But that's why they gave you the job. I don't know why I'm laughing at that so much. Maybe it's an honor. Maybe they just want to get rid of you. I don't know. The party reunited with the caravan and Sprinkles the owlbear.
Yay.
While Lady Belafonte did not mind that Terel extended an invitation to all those survivors, she seemed a little overwhelmed at the prospect of managing so many orphans, as would we all. She seized an opportunity in the surviving potters, and 2 wagons were loaded up with casks of the porcelain clay that Zelbras is known for, worth about 5,000 gold each. The survivors hold a brief ceremony of grief and farewell on their last night in Zelbras, concluding this chapter with an ancient prayer, to the wood, the dire wood. They may not rest, but they are remembered. And it's mid-morning on the 15th of Marpanoth. If it's a holiday, I don't know. I ran out of time to check. Having trundled up the survivors and their meager salvaged belongings, the caravan hits the Delimbiyr Road east once more. Ain't that nice?
Yay.
So you're on the road. There's I can't even remember the number of wagons they added. There's at least 3, and then I think they made 1 or 2 more in the time you guys took, the couple of days. I feel like I wanted to ask you if you did some stuff during the time, but I think maybe you were kind of busy during those couple of days of people trying to salvage stuff, and you were reconnecting with the caravan and getting things done. So there probably wasn't that much free time.
I mean, if there was any free time, it'd be I can envisage doing repairs.
Repairs. I probably need arrows.
I don't know. At one point, you bought 1,000 arrows.
If you say so, I don't remember.
You've got so many arrows in your inventory. I think there was a point where I got rid of half your arrows just so you wouldn't be encumbered.
Or should we just have a wagon of arrows right behind me?
Yeah, that's exactly So you were nervous the whole time they were packing up because you're okay, is someone going to notice that half of a wagon is filled with my arrows? Because I might need those. Sure, they're orphans, but come on. So how are you traveling with the caravan now? I can't remember what you were doing before. Were you riding horses? Were you walking? Were you on wagons?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Did we have horses?
It doesn't.
Did we have horses?
I think you were using horses. They might have been horses that belonged to the caravan.
That's
general,
what that's what it feels like.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Take horse, leave a horse.
I mean, eventually, I want Sprinkles to be big enough to be able to carry me, so that we can scare the crap out of anyone in battle. But I think she's too young for that, so fairly sure I was on a horse, like you say, that we'd borrowed.
She does. Sprinkles scurries along with the caravan most days of travel because it's hard to fit an owlbear anywhere else. She's usually pretty pooped by the time a day of travel ends. and very, very hungry.
Gotta build up that stamina.
She's made fast friends with Good Boy. So a lot of the trip so far, as they set on the road, is her running along and Good Boy running after her with his little puppy legs, and they kind of circle each other and bark and gerhoot as they kind of feign play, feign fight. But they're kind of having a good time. You do realize with the set off of the wagon that as the caravan has grown in size, it seems to have slowed down. It just takes twice as long to get anything done. And with more wagons means there's more opportunities for things to break down. So as you start to progress a day's travel, you don't seem to be making as much distance as before you reach Zelbras.
Uh-oh. She's going to be pissed at me for doing that.
Does somebody want to roll a survival check?
I can do that because I've got a good survival.
Go for it. Yeah, mine's a -1.
See?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Roll a d6.
That's concerning. Whatever's going on.
I know, it's gone very quiet.
I'm just flipping pages.
Uh-huh.
The caravan pauses midday to rest and water the animals. It's not a moment too soon for Sprinkle. She's kind of pooped. And she and Good Boy kind of settle down after drinking water and having a snack into like a little curled up pile of fluffiness. And they take a little nap. Those savvy in the survival arts can forage for nuts and berries suitable for the rest of the group during this short rest. Does anybody want to forage?
Can I forage? He's
I
got
could.
3 on survival.
You probably won't. I've got nature. Also.
Roll a survival check, but roll it in the tower, because we never use the tower.
Oh my gosh, where is okay, there's the tower. Alright.
And check with Kai. Kai, what are you looking for?
Nuts.
You're looking for nuts? Okay. I just wanted to make sure you weren't looking for alchemical supplies.
Oh, no. Nuts and eating things.
Well, Kai, you managed to find a handful of edible flowers and red berries.
Yum.
And you pop a couple of those berries in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
They are sour to the tongue. And they stain your teeth blood red. But you've got enough to share.
Okay. So we can all have red teeth.
Yelena. I will say you rolled a natural 20. So I'm pulling out the moonshine.
No.
A little shot. With a natural 20, Yelena finds a whole patch of wild pumpkins and even some allspice berries. What's more, she discovers a shrub boasting pale blue, faintly glowing berries. And wouldn't you know it, this is one thing I didn't do to prep. It's an actual item. Yelena, roll an Arcana or Nature check.
I will do nature.
You have no idea. You don't recognize these berries, but they're blue and they're glowy, and you're like, "Ooh, this seems fancy."
Fancy, yeah. I don't know that my instinct would be to eat something that's glowing, but
But you pick some of these berries and you take them back for consideration as some kind of magic item. Let me make a note of myself that I need to give you this unidentified magic item. A pen, my kingdom for a pen. But yeah, a handful of magic blueberries. And tons of pumpkin and spice. And you take that back to camp, and Ragnar is really excited. He has plans. And the next evening when you camp, there's a bunch of pumpkin pie for everyone to enjoy.
very nice.
And what you do with the mysterious berries is up to you.
If I did a medicine check, would I be able to, or would it have to be nature?
Nature or arcana?
Right, it's gonna have to be
I-
nature.
I could do Arcana.
All right.
Right,
Let's do
can
one
we
each.
both have a look? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tower or general?
Kai, no, arcana checks fine out in the open.
So we're looking over your hand going, ooh!
Kai recognizes the magical properties of these berries. It's like, oh, these are sugar slumber berries. It's like, it's good. You probably shouldn't eat that right away. These are kind of berries that can help people sleep.
Hmm.
Interesting.
People who are normally immune to magical sleep effects are likewise not affected by sugar slumber berries.
Oh, that would have been funny if I tried one and nothing happened.
Nothing happened, yeah. So this advice is mainly for Terel's benefit. Because neither you
I'm
nor
just wondering
Kai.
about asking if I can have a couple.
But they are delicious. They're sweetest blueberry berryishness ever. They're delightful. And the only disappointment here is that there's not enough for like a whole sugar slumber pie with like ice cream. That would be really good. Man.
But it makes you go to sleep, yeah?
It does make you go to sleep, but elves don't have that problem.
Hmm.
Half elves don't have that problem.
So if you wanted to make somebody to go sleep, somebody annoying.
Oh yeah, if you needed to like put somebody to sleep, some Humie to sleep, it
Good
might
to
be
know.
useful. Might be a useful thing. The journey continues.
Is there any sort of training I can give to Sprinkles while we're travelling? Because I did say I was going to teach her to hunt and stuff like that.
When there's breaks, you could potentially have an opportunity to try to teach her some hunting. But while it's maybe not as easy when the caravan is actively moving, though,
Okay.
if there's something you wanted to like kind of train or try to help her be more attentive toward keeping watch or something, looking out for dangers to the caravan on the open road. That might be a type of training to like keep a lookout for danger.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So you, being the most perceptive person in this group,
Oh, me?
yeah, you're gonna train Sprinkles and like how to keep watch as the caravan moves forward.
I mean, I'm not very perceptive, but yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like, just to. Do I want to teach her that? Because I feel like Yelena would be better off teaching her that. I'm thinking more like, so the hunting, because I don't want her to be dependent on us for food. I want her to be able to get her own food if she needs to, and possibly being able to communicate without casting spells. Do like some sort of hand signal or something like that with a...
Start doing a little like Gerhoot signal.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to start training some signals. Some like vocabulary free, magic free signals with sprinkles.
Yeah.
Let's say, what are the first two things you want to teach her?
Hide and run.
What does hide and run look like?
Oh crap, I didn't think of that far ahead. Hide will be my right hand just held up and then just push it down. As if to say get down sort of thing. And run. What can I do for run? Maybe just like a sweep of the hand, as if to say go. I know you can't see my hands moving, but
It's
Reg can. It's very funny from where I'm sitting. Thanks.
You can train Rach while you're at it.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've figured out these like signals, and you've been practicing them with sprinkles for a couple of hours as the caravan rolls on. Do an animal handling check to see how attentive she's been and how much she's learned.
Ooh.
Ooh, 16. That's not bad. So over the course of a couple hours of training, and you keep going over these signals and have her practice and drills over and over, shifting between running and hiding at your signal, she seems to kind of have mastered these two signals. And you feel pretty confident that if the circumstance were to arrive, she would follow your lead.
Fab.
Now, what's something that you want to teach her to signal to you?
I mean, I guess it would. I'm going to guess that she's got better hearing, obviously smell abilities. So if she senses something that seems unusual, dodgy, dangerous. Let's go with dangerous. Let's not make it too open to. That would be best thing to communicate to us, I think.
What do you want her to do when she sees danger?
Or
senses danger, or smells it?
I guess because she can't really do hand gestures. Some kind of specific Gerhoot.
She has wings,
She does have wings, doesn't she? So if we have a specific sound with a wing flap, maybe?
Like a two whoos, like a hoo-hoo and a wing flap.
Yeah.
Okay, make another animal handling check to see how well she does.
Yeah.
Oh, 15. That's good enough. So not only have you learned two things to communicate to Sprinkles when she needs to run and when she needs to hide, but she's learned how to signal to you, or at least she's pretending at this point. I mean, that would be ironic if there was actual danger.
And I think she's just, practicing.
But she's pretending. She's using her imagination. And you think that she understands the concept, though, and that she has this, like, she'll do the hoo-hoo and wing flap, like flutter, if she thinks that there is something dangerous about that you haven't spotted.
Fabulous.
While this is going on, is there anything that Yelena or Kai is doing to delight in their time?
Do I have any reading that I need to be doing?
I think you did have reading left on
inventory.
Your sleight of hand book.
And I know I wrote down how many hours I had done, so now I gotta find that.
You have 8 hours. You have 8 hours left of reading to do on that tome before you are proficient in sleight of hand.
All right, so yeah, I'll if as long as things are safe and we're in a good place to be doing it, I'll just read. Knock some of that out.
All right, so you take a spot on one of the wagon benches, You basically like encourage Badger Sweeney to like have a few, take a walk and work off some of that, some of the, I don't know, pudding weight. And take his seat on a wagon bench, and you read for. Wait, how many hours did you say?
How many we got?
Let's say, I mean, there's a lot of interruptions, so I'm gonna say 4 hours you can get done.
Okay, we'll do that.
And this is just one day.
Yep, so we'll knock 4 hours off that.
So you only have 4 hours left. What about Kai? What's Kai doing?
Don't know really.
Minding his own business, taking
Yeah.
a nap.
Minding his own business, watching where he's putting his feet so he doesn't fall over. Are we walking or are we on horses?
Well, that
Was that a dig at me?
depends.
Huh? Was that a dig at me?
What?
Watching where I put my feet before you.
No. Sure. Yeah, are we
I
on
mean,
horses?
all these
Tell me.
options are open. There are a lot of people who like would enjoy a turn not walking. But it's up to you whether or not Kai cares about that whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. Kai likes a bit of a walk every now and then, so I'm just trotting along at the side of the wagon, listening to everybody chatter and whatnot.
Okay. Are you trying to like listen for gossip? Or are you
Yeah.
just like uncaring about it?
No, gossip, most definitely.
All right. So let's see. Roll a perception check. You listen in on people's conversation, but all you get is like a bunch of boring. Like there's Daisy and Carmody, and they're kind of just chatting about. They're chatting about what they've seen so far, and they haven't seen much of anything so far. Like they've got like absolutely no understanding of the events that happened in Zelbras. So they're just kind of speculating wildly. And then the next thing you eavesdrop on is what's his name? Your old pal with the pigs. What's his name? I can't remember.
Terry.
Terry has gotten into a game with Noodles Fabian of playing alphabets. As they're walking along. And they're just like taking turns trying to spot things that start with whatever the letter is. But Terry keeps getting mixed up on what letter they're on. So there's like arguments erupting about, no, it's not C again. You can't call out cart for everything, Terry. We've done that one. So with a 6, there's nothing titillating that you picked up.
Yeah, right.
A little bit amusing, a little bit like annoyingly mundane, but no real juicy stuff.
At least I know who to avoid for conversations.
I don't know. It depends on how competitive you are at playing alphabets. The day settles, and in line with your estimations, the caravan makes some progress, but they do not make the progress that would have been. It's like maybe half the distance that they would have otherwise. Before the sun starts to get lower, and it seems to be time to camp for the night.
Okay, is there what we can do to try and improve it? I mean, is it just they're not used to travelling and so they're just dawdling, or is it down to something else?
It's really the sheer number. It's the size of the caravan at this point. It's bloated up a bit, and it just seems to take longer for everyone to pack up in the morning, longer for everything to make camp, everyone to make camp in the evening. There's more of a pressure for people to take breaks and rest up. And then once people stop for a rest, it takes longer for everybody to get back into gear and get back on the road.
All right.
And like I said before, because there's more wagons in the caravan, there's more opportunity for something to break down.
All right. Well, then when we camp for the night, I'm going to go find Lord Jomont.
All right. The sun sets. People, a bonfire has been built. Ragnar takes up his place by the campfire, making whatever subpar culinary delights he has. Though he has been working on this pumpkin pie, and that turns out pretty well. It's just that everything else he offers has a lot of beans in it. Whole lot of beans. So you find Jomont eating his beans without complaint by log by this campfire. What is your business?
I'm very aware of the fact that adding all these people to the caravan is slowing progress down, and I'm sure Lady Belafona would prefer not to be delayed any further. And I'm just wondering if there's anything we can come up with to get everyone into a bit of a better routine. You know, maybe pack away as much as they can on an evening before, you know, so it's quicker to set off on a morning. Maybe we do something with regards to scheduled stops. Maybe breaking the caravan up a bit, so a third of the or half the caravan stop for a break when the other half continues, and then we swap. So hopefully by the time that the first group has finished their, you know, basically the group that stopped first can then catch up to the group that has the break later. I'm just wondering if it's something we can come up with. And obviously, as a military man, I felt that you would have maybe some ideas around that.
Lord Jomont looks a little bit surprised that you've approached him with this conversation.
That's understandable.
I admit, Terel, I am flattered you would ask my advice on this matter. I started to get the impression that I had done you in a fits.
No, it's just that I don't really know you, and I don't give my trust immediately.
Wait 1 second. I'm doing an insight check.
Shit. I mean, he hasn't offended me, has he? I just don't like him.
I mean,
I'm trying to remember why I don't like him.
He doesn't have that much insight. Yeah, he
Okay.
doesn't have insight for that one. He rolled a 5.
Then I shall continue with. But obviously, I respect.
He takes you for his word that you don't warn people very easily, or don't trust.
But obviously, I respect your military career, and I feel that you would be the person who would know how to handle a large amount of people like this.
He kind of like scratches the back of his neck. I guess I have a military career.
And obviously, your subordinates, who you delegate to, I'm just going to subtly point out, you know, without saying he doesn't know what he's on about. You know, I feel that his commanders, his sergeants, his lieutenants, whatever ranking system is using, they might have an idea.
I do understand the importance of delegation, and I quite like that suggestion you have of splitting up the rests, having half go on ahead and the other half catching up. That should win us a little time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we just, you know, need to make sure that each half is guarded.
Getting them to pre-camp, to pack up at night and be more organized, we can try to instruct. However, the people are not soldiers, and, well, if they were an army, we could certainly demand such order from them. We may have trouble with well, ordinary folk and children.
Okay, well that's understandable. So maybe I can have a word with Lady Belafana and oh god, the name of the guy, the cleric from Zelbros.
Garen.
Garen, and Sigus, and maybe we can get together and come up with a way of helping the people from Parnas to,
Organizing
teach
them
them.
gently.
Yeah, and maybe have the kids make it as a bit of a game. We arrange some sort of reward for the children who help do all the packing and stuff.
Well, that is a very
just to
good
get them involved.
idea. Make it into a game. Yes, I like that. That way, the children won't, feel like they are being put to work.
Yes.
Another shadow of the orphan workhouse.
Yeah, I know.
Foreshadowing.
But kids get bored,
Kids need things to do. I'm glad you haven't talked to Lady B about this yet.
No, I wanted to discuss it with you first to see if you felt that it was a reasonable approach, and then if you want, we can go together and speak to her about it and see if she has any other suggestions.
He looks a bit bemused by that you came to speak with him before you spoke to Lady Belafana.
But to be fair, I am relying on the fact that some of his military staff would be able to organise the split sort of rest thing.
Well, we should discuss with Lady Belafon, of course, because it is her caravan.
Yes.
Need to sign off, but if she is in accord, we can certainly, with the next break, proceed. And perhaps after dinner, we can get the children organized into a game of packing for the day ahead.
Yeah.
So, with that conversation, you have like a brief conversation with Lady Belafana. Garen Ravenshade he's around somewhere, but he's like too slippery to pin down for any kind of like, hello, would you like responsibility conversation right away. I mean, it's so weird because it's not that big of a camp, and yet every time you turn around looking for like, hey, where's Garen Ravenshade? He's like, I don't know where the guy is. It's like he disappears in the shadows. But you have a brief talk with Lady Belafana, and she's like, all right, okay, this sounds good, because I do like a schedule. I would like to get there sooner rather than later. And yeah, there are logistical concerns the longer that this trip takes. If you hear any beep beep beeps, it's because OBS is not staying connected to Twitch by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
I need to change my setting or something, what server I'm using, because it's been really crappy. But I am recording, theoretically. Theoretically, that's successful. This would be a terrible time for me to realize there's no sound. And she agrees. She agrees with everything. But you get the impression that it's going to be kind of like a stepwise process, that it's not going to happen overnight. But they're going to take a couple steps right away out of your suggestions. I mean, I didn't even have you make a persuasion check, because I think at this point, Lord Jomont definitely does respect your opinion. And you get that kind of like from his demeanor through the conversation, that one, he's surprised that you're coming to him asking for any kind of assistance. And then two, Lady Belafana is kind of like, well, yeah, that's what you're here for. Good thinking,
Okay.
Anything that makes her like her timetable narrower. And so these things get underway. Terry gets put in charge of the children. It somehow works out in terms of organizing them with the game, of putting their things away early and getting everything organized except for their bedrolls before they settle down for the night. And the evening settles in. Everybody's had their beans and their pumpkin pie and whatever else Um, you could also like spend some time this evening having Sprinkles practice a little. And as you're getting ready to do that, Lady Belafana circles back around and she pulls all three of you aside. And she says to all of you, with the addition of the Zelbras refugees, the caravan has more than twice the bellies to fill. And we have rations for 30 to make the trip. There's no longer 30 of us. There's like 50 of us. And I was hoping, even with the 30, we'd be able to round out the trip with fresh food along the way. I thought Zelbras was going to be a better stop for that. It was awful for that. There's Owlbear up ahead, but that's a bit of a ways. Maybe we'll find a farmstead or an inn along the road, but until then, would you mind trying to hunt or scavenge something else substantial tonight? Something that isn't beans or oatmeal?
You're sick of it too, then.
Sure.
I mean, you could take your owlbear, I guess. Oh, I never drank. Oh, hi. This is some moonshine I never drank from that natural 20 earlier. My shot glass is clear, and with like the clear moonshine, it was just... It's like casting invisibility. Just fade into the background. So, yeah, another hunting check. I think that would be great. It would be super helpful, yes.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So, do we know where we are in terms of what's available? I mean, I can see obviously on the map where we are, but...
And actually, I should like load a little bit one because you're like you're at the O in Zelbras now.
Yeah.
And so there's river and there is woods. A lot of woods.
Do we have anyone? Do we have anyone in the caravan who's good with fishing that we can set up on an evening doing that while we go hunt for like red meat or foraging and stuff?
Noodles will volunteer to fish.
Okay.
Lord Jomont will volunteer to fish, and as you kind of kind of catch sight along the river, you realize that this is where Lord Garen Ravenshade has disappeared to. He's got like a straw hat that has come out of nowhere, and he's got it like tilted over his face, and he's got a fishing pole set up in the river, and he's just kind of lounging back reading a book while he waits for something to take a bite. Of course, this is in the darkness, but hey, he seems to be pretty chill with it. So yeah, 3 people can take up fishing, or three people set up fishing, and I can do. Why am I keep opening everything but what I want because I need to add sprinkles to the tracker. And she's not hostile, she's a good girl. Okay. So, I said noodles, but I think I was lying because I don't want to get him out. I'm just going to roll for Ravenshade and Lord Jomont. And I'm going to roll just a d20 for the other person. Oh, that's amazing. So Garen Ravenshade, he rolls the 17. Jomont rolls a natural 1. I think Fantasy Grounds hates him. I think, it's not like he has terrible ability scores or anything like that. It's not like Jomont should be incompetent. I love averages. He should be useful sometimes. But every time I roll for him, it's just shit.
Oh dear.
So yeah, Lord Jomont tries, but he doesn't catch any fish. But Noodles Fabian, he does. So Noodles Fabian and Garen Ravenshade, they are both successful. They catch maybe a dozen fish between them. Maybe more than a dozen fish. Enough for like everybody in the caravan to get a bit of a taste and to kind of plump out the food. But for you guys, the rest of you, you go hunting for something, some game or something more substantial than a few bites of fish in the river. You go hunting what? In the forest?
I mean, that makes more sense, I'm thinking.
Okay, are
Unless,
you gonna...
you know, you guys think we'd be better off not?
Well, Kai's not much of a hunter, to be fair. He's a gatherer.
Gathering a lover.
But you can gather in the forest too, I suppose.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, there's like bushes and there's trees and there's shrubbery
I can gather, yeah.
and moss and what's-its.
I'm not chasing after any boars or anything, though.
Well, I can hunt and shoot.
You can definitely hunt and track and what's-it.
Yeah.
That's your whole
Thing. Raison d'etre.
Yeah.
And I could make noise and flush it out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can be the
Awesome
fish for
distraction.
you.
So, do you want to do it as a group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you bringing Sprinkles along?
Yeah, because again, I think it's good practice for her, training and stuff. So
Okay. So who wants to? Do you want to? Who wants to roll a survival check, or do you want to do it as a group check?
I mean, mine's not great, so it's going to rely on a
Mine's
good roll.
good, but
Oh,
I
we
always
can
like
do
the
it.
group.
Yep, just do a group one then.
Okay, so everybody roll, and I will do an average, and I'll. You want to roll for Sprinkles? Do I need to roll Sprinkles?
Sure. I don't mind. You can roll.
Like, do I
Oh, that
need
was
to-
a decent roll.
Has it been so long? I need to drag Sprinkles to you again. Does she
I
still-
think so. Yeah, I can't
does she
see
still
her
work?
unless I'm looking in the wrong place.
Did that work?
Yes.
Woo!
So it'd be a wisdom check.
I think it's intelligence for nature.
Oh, I thought you said survival.
Oh, I did survive.
Oh, it's survival. Survival would be wisdom. Yeah, wisdom check.
Okay, wisdom check. Well, yeah. Sprinkles did not do well.
Yeah, on either one, she's Jomonting it. So Yelena, you managed to rustle up a brace of pheasant and some wild onions from the edge of the wood brush. That's going to be a welcome addition to the camp's larder. Terel, you're good at like causing enough noise to kind of shake the birds out of the underbrush.
That's me.
But Kai, you managed to kind of slip up and you find yourself tripping through the underbrush, getting a little bit separate from the rest of the group.
Okay.
And the trees of the surrounding forest, they're kind of confusing, if not cage-like. And as you're trying to listen and figure out where the rest of your group is, you lean against a trunk in this closed circle of like 8 trees you find yourself in as you catch your breath. You regard your surroundings, and you try to regain your sense of direction. So Kai, make a perception check.
Oh, yeah, great.
Kai, as you begin to look around, there comes a snapping sound from overhead. You take 17 bludgeoning damage as a heavy object strikes you from above.
Oh, dear.
You see a deer carcass shrouded in heavy webbing tumbling to the ground. Roll initiative.
Oh.
Is that all of us?
Yeah. Though at the beginning I'll just have Kai on the map. I'm gonna change the music, but I gotta figure out which music I want to use. Maybe this one. It's got sprinkle sound effects in it, but you know, hey. So you've got some owies, Kai. Did I apply the
Yeah.
owies to you? I did not apply the owies. Deer carcass covered in webbing. Oh no, what an unfortunate happenstance. Now that you see this like webbed carcass on the ground, you feel like, oh, there's a sense of dread here. And you notice that the bark of the tree you're leaning against feels unnaturally rubbery to the touch. It's like the lichen creeping up from the ground. That looks real and harmless enough, but as you lift your gaze higher, far above your head, the tree trunks surrounding you bend with an abnormal girth above your head. They kind of meet in the middle, and they don't look like they're branches. There's something. There's canopy up ahead, up above, that's kind of obscuring some of this. But because you're from the Underdark, and you've moved in certain circles, you focus and you realize two horrible things. Well, at least one horrible thing. One, there are multiple red eyes gazing down on you from high above. Two, you're standing under a spider. A long legs the size of a large house.
No. Would it be alright to squeal at this point?
I was going to say, do Yelena and Terel hear a girly scream?
Yeah, you let out a squeal as the red eyes swoop down closer, and this long-legged spider tries to bite you. But perception check for everybody else to see if you hear the squeal. "13 hits.
Wow, Sprinkles is not doing well.
Yeah, Sprinkle's got that Jomont juice. Did Yelena roll for perception?
Oh, I did not. Sorry. Hold on.
So Kai, you get bitten by this long spider. You take 7 damage, and you need to make a Constitution saving throw. Yelena, you totally hear the squeal. And you can tell that Kai seems to be about 150 feet away to your west. All right, Kai, you save against poison because this isn't the first time you've gotten bitten by a spider. But you do feel a little bit of poison sink into your system. But because you resisted it, you only take half damage.
Okay.
So that's 3 more points of damage. And then the spider gets to kick at you with one of its legs.
Please tell me he's not going to have an attack for every leg.
Well, theoretically, yeah, he does have an attack for every leg. But we're going to start with the 1.
Oh, dear.
This is going to be caravanning.
All right.
Somebody's going to have to come and scoop Kai up off the floor in a minute.
The long legs rolls a 24. Does 8 more damage to Kai. But then after this kick, it spits out a web from its spinneret, trying to tie up Kai in a nice little bow. So there's a ranged attack against you with the bow. I mean, not with the bow, with the web. It rolls a 16.
Oh, no.
Which hits. You must make a Constitution saving throw. Again. I know you must love these. And that is not enough. So you are now paralyzed for a minute. So Kai, you're like a little Twinkie of webbing. Paralyzed by this spider.
That's the last time I go foraging. No longer like nature.
And now it's your turn. But hey.
You're screwed.
So there's nothing I can do to save, or I can't click my fingers and do a quick
Unfortunately,
fireball.
paralysis. Let me double check that you can't save against the paralysis. Okay. At the end of your turn, you can make a strength check.
Okay. So
make a strength check to see if you can get out of your little
strength check.
I mean, you're paralyzed for a minute. I mean, I feel like maybe these are supposed to be contraindicated, but that is not enough.
Okay.
14 does not make it. Your spindly arms have failed you.
Always. Right. Well, that's me. I just have to wait for rescue then, yeah.
So we're going to go to the top of the order now. Yelena, you get to act.
All right, am I nearby? Do I see? Am I in shooting range? Or do I need to keep them in?
I'll say, what did you roll with your perception before? Was it a natural 20 or was it?
Not quite that. It was good, but it wasn't that good.
It was 18, because you definitely heard him.
So I'm running off in that direction.
You're running off in that direction. I'm going to have you make another perception check. Do you use a dash action?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're able to dash in the direction you heard the little squeal. And I'll say that you are able to get on the map. As you kind of come into this clearing, and you realize as you run past it that oh, that's not natural, and you've just run past one of these legs.
Do I still need to roll perception?
You don't need to roll perception anymore. Using your dash action, you were able to get within range and spot that, oh, this is a big freaking spider, and it has tied up Kai into a little morsel snack for later. And it's just this wad of webbing, and Kai's head is kind of dangling out, and he's drooling, slobbering, because he's...
Not much change then.
Yeah.
Tied up instead.
Pretty much normal. So you used your action for that, but do you have anything you can do as your bonus action?
I think. Can I just go ahead and do Hunter's Mark?
Sure, you can.
I think that's a bonus action, so I can do that.
Yes. Prepare for the success you want to have.
Exactly. And now here's where Kim's trying to remember how we dragged this thing over.
I think you drag some kind of effect to yourself. I think that's what happened last time. Is if you drag it to yourself, it applies the damage automatically to things that you hunt. And it's just this assumption that you're only going to attack the things that you've marked. and not
Okay, I see now. Effect.
randomly attack things, that you're just going to be like moving that mark by default.
Awesome. All right, I think I did it.
Okie dokie. So that's your turn. You've done your movement. So Terel.
I am also going to dash after Yelena. So
Yeah.
if I do a dash, I can do 60 feet.
You can do 60 feet, so you can get about where Yelena is. Because Yelena, you have 60 feet of movement too, right?
Is it 35?
Well, it's 35 because you're in the forest or something.
I think it went up to 35 for some reason, so maybe. So dash is double, so 70.
I was just trying to figure out like where you're. Oh yeah, you are 35. Okay, I just wanted to figure out where Terel is in relation to you. 2 steps behind Yelena.
Okay.
But you can also clearly see the little tidily wrapped gift that is Kai in spider
Then
gossamer.
I'm gonna do a bonus action of Misty Step.
Okay. So you zap yourself closer.
Right, that's as much as I can do. Other than yell at the spider, "Oi, ugly!"
And I'll just say that everything in this whole circle, that kind of like the clearing, that's kind of like the cage of the giant spider's legs. So it's within melee range of the spider.
Okay. Sprinkle's speed is 40 feet. Does she also get a dash?
She can dash, yeah.
Right, so she can move 80 feet.
So she can move 80 feet, that she can be 10 feet closer than Yelena with her dash.
Okay.
But like, I am saying that anything within, like, maybe I should draw it. Anything within that circle is technically within melee range.
Okay.
Because there's a leg. There's 8 legs, like giant legs. I couldn't figure out a way to represent that. So the spider's like in the center because it's like, that's his big old booty.
Mm-hmm.
But there are legs around this whole clearing that you can melee attack.
Okay.
So, that means that you don't necessarily have to move to the thing in the center to attack it.
All right.
With a melee attack. But it also means that, Yelena, you are within melee attack range of legs.
So
which does affect your shooty stuff, I guess.
So with my 30 feet, Misty Step, should I have put myself like closer to the green line then? Or am I still?
You could undo your Misty Step if you wanted to, because you were already within melee range before you did that.
Well, I can't attack this round because I've used a dash, so.
But I thought I might just point
wondering...
it out that like you didn't use the spell just because you thought you weren't within range.
I mean that too, but I'm just wondering if I needed to be like sort of still move 30 feet, but move sort of like there so that I'm like by a leg sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean you were. I mean technically you're within range of a leg.
Right. So where I was is still.
You haven't taken out any legs so far, so basically,
okay. All right.
Anywhere you stand right now, there's a leg.
Okay. I believe that's.
Oh, and I forgot, I was supposed to make Sprinkles have the same initiative as you.
Sorry, I just assumed she had. So
she should. I just, for lifestyle convenience, she should have the same initiative as you.
Okay.
The Goliath gets to attack again. It's gonna reel Kai in. And just zip 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 like the fishing poles that people were using earlier by the river to catch a few fin friends. This giant Daddy Longlegs just reels in the package that is Kai towards its mouth. And it takes a bite on Kai as a bonus action. Hitting with a 17. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Oh dear. Somebody's going to have to be picking Kai out of this spider's teeth in a minute.
Does 7 damage. And Kai needs to make another Constitution saving throw.
Hey. Is that better if I've done it?
Here again, you take half damage.
Yeah.
So 4 more points. Woo!
I have 2 hit points left. This is not good.
But now that will be the Longlegs' turn. Because he chose to reel up his snack. Oh wait, no, he gets more leg attacks. The reel only counts for 2 of his attacks. So the spider is going to kick at all of you once. So hits Terel with a 25. Which you partially resisted. In fact, did you resisted half of it. So you only took 3 damage from that kick.
Yay.
I don't know what happened there. Those sprinkles. It won't let me attack sprinkles for some reason.
Because that would be wrong.
I just attack Yelena instead. Okay.
Hey.
Hit with a 17. So Yelena, you took 5 damage, and drag your Hunter's Mark back to you because by default it's concentration, but we're using the 2024 rules and where it's not a concentration. Or I'm not treating it like concentration, but you're going to have to drag the Hunter's Mark effect back to you because it just took it off. And while I'm thinking about it, okay, I'm going to roll out. I have no idea what's happening there. I'm going to roll in chat for the attack on Sprinkles. It was a 17. Does a 17 hit Sprinkles? Can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, armor class is 17.
Her armor class is 17, so it meets it.
Yeah.
She take. She takes 8 damage. I am going to look at Yelena's effects. Okay, I'm going to take the concentration off of your Hunter's Mark, and maybe I'm going to figure out how to do that on your character sheet so that doesn't happen in the future. So that will be the Goliath turn. Kai, you have another chance to roll a strength check.
Okay.
Noodle arms, activate.
Nah,
But an 8 doesn't do it. And you're kind of like, you're really messed up right now. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Kai thinking about right now?
Not much really. Wishing
Do you have that kind of affinity with spiders from the Underdark and stuff?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, he never learned how to speak spider. You figured that out from like the whole encounters with Spiderface.
Yeah.
So he.
Oh yeah.
From what you've seen so far, he hasn't gained a lot of respect from the spider community.
No, I don't like spiders. They're not nice. But you know, yeah, Kai's got this little twinkly thought. You know, it'd be good for Spiderface to have a little visit right at this point. See if we could get him to talk the big spider down.
Does Kai know any messaging spells?
That would constitute something useful, so no.
Does Kai want to think about that while he's kind of stuck here?
Yeah. He's lamenting the fact that he hasn't learned anything useful, only damage.
Make an Arcana check. It's a very high DC check, but just in case.
That's alright.
Oh, but it's not quite enough. This is one short from what the DC was. So we're going to just move along. And on to, back to Yelena. New round.
All right, let's shoot this guy.
Now, you will step back a couple of, to a corner or something, because you are like within melee range. And as you step away, it will kick at you.
Nice.
But nat 1.
Haha.
So yeah, shoot. A palpable hit with a 27.
Oops. Well, fire arrow, why not? Might as well set it on fire.
Hey, if you save Kai, you can get him to make some more.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't suppose you happen to nick the web and set the web on fire and unravel me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you rolled a 19. I think that's like, okay. Kai, you feel a sudden warmth.
No, I felt that already.
You feel a sudden warmth. And suddenly, the webbing that surrounds you that is attached to the spinneret, and almost entering the toothy maw of this giant spider, gives way. And you start to drop. Make a dexterity saving throw, Kai.
Yeah.
We didn't think that through.
Well, it's because I accidentally selected the fire arrow, but hey, probably not a bad idea.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there we go. Like a cat.
No, it says autofill because you're paralyzed. But I'm going to ignore that. You know, why did I even paralyze you? I don't know, because I'm not respecting it at all. You start to fall, but you reach out and you manage to like grab a little teeny tendril of webbing that's dangling loose, and then you do like this kind of like uncannily acrobatic slickety slidey swoop slide down that string of webbing toward the ground, and then you just kind of collapse in a little pile prone on the forest surface without taking any damage.
Lovely.
So at this point, you're prone. I'll say like technically you're paralyzed, but you have like 5 feet of movement. All right, for the next 8 rounds.
Okay.
I'm writing things down. But Yelena has set you free.
Yay.
Yay.
And she has a second arrow.
I do. Well, since it's working well, let's shoot him with another fire arrow.
And did that apply the Hunter's Mark damage?
Yes, I think it did.
That P6, was that the hunter's mark?
Oops. Just wasted a fire arrow.
Oh no!
Oh
You
no!
have inspiration. You have one inspiration left.
I do. Okay, let's redo that. That's better.
All right. So you hit with
Thanks.
a 22 and you do 17 more damage.
Okay, that's my turn. I'm
And
going
with
to stay put.
that, you do manage to chop off a good solid digit out of one leg. And unless you want to move or have some other bonus action to do, that is your turn.
That's it.
Okay, Sprinkles and Terel.
Okay, Sprinkles is gonna go in with the beak. Nice.
Hits on the 25.
Not bad. And then follows up with a claw attack. Enthusiastically hooting as she goes. Oh, that was a... I jinxed her. And that's her. Because she doesn't have any extra actions.
She did like 12 damage to the spidery spider. What about you?
Then I am also going to attack. Do you have any healing potions, Kai? Or do you need me to do a lay on hands rather than attack?
The spider will get to attack before Kai gets to do anything.
I'm hoping that we can distract the spider from Kai, though.
Well, I can't drink any potions, can I? If I'm...
Alright, in that case I won't attack. I'm going to move up towards Kai because that will then give me ability to throw protection on it or disadvantage when it attacks you. And I'm going to cast Lay on Hands.
How much are you going to give Kai?
What is it? It's 5 a turn, isn't it? Is it one action? So if I did 2 actions, that would use everything up, wouldn't it? Would I need to do that to do the heal?
You can. It's one action, and you can spend up to 30 in that one action.
Okay.
It's just in 5 hit point increments for like things like curing diseases and stuff.
Right, I'm going to I'm going to give Kai 20.
Woo! No, I didn't automatically apply it, but let me lower his.
Oh no, I didn't actually roll it on him, so
Okay.
I can do that though.
I've taken his wounds away for 20.
Okay, and I'm just trying to see if it says what else about.
So he now has 22 hit points.
Right. So does that leave me an action then?
Is using lay on hands a bonus action?
No, it's just one action.
Okay, then it doesn't leave you an action. The multi-attack only works if you do attack action.
Right, then I shall leave it there.
If you have a bonus action that you can do independently of attacking.
No, all I've got is Misty Step.
Okay.
It's my only bonus.
The Goliath, the long legs, it has. Yelena did the most damage to it last round, so she has drawn its attention. And it shoots a wad of webbing in her direction. Which now for some reason isn't working. I gotta figure out why things are not working when I roll on people periodically. Oh, maybe it was my map mode. Okay, so you get hit with a 23. And you find yourself restrained by webbing, but make a Constitution saving throw, Yelena.
That's not good.
Okay, you are also this half-assed paralyzed. And I'm gonna say, rather than this be for a minute, it's only gonna be for one round because, frankly, I'm disrespectful of the paralysis. We don't have time. We don't have time for people to be paralyzed for a minute. It's almost a little adventurer's break. Okay, so for one round, you're going to be paralyzed.
Sigh.
So you feel that numbing creep in. Goliath tries to bite at Terel.
Oh, stuff you.
Hits with a 26. Pretty good rolls today. And make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
There's only two damage. Teeny baby damage.
No use if I'm bloody paralyzer. Ha!
And he made a natural 20. And so I would say with a natural 20, you don't take any damage rather than just half. And I'm going to drink some more alcohol.
Okay.
And then the spider's going to kick at you and at Sprinkles and at Kai, each with like a leg attack.
Alright, Kai, when it attacks Kai, it has to roll at disadvantage.
Okay. Well, it misses Terel with a 13. Oh yeah, Sprinkles still doesn't work for that. I don't know why. Hit Sprinkles with an 18. Doing 8 more damage to Sprinkles. And then I'm rolling at disadvantage for the attack on Kai. For some reason it didn't. Oh, it did disadvantage because it canceled it out because he's prone.
Okay.
So there was advantage because of the prone. So you made it a normal roll. And it rolled a 19. Which applies 5 damage to Kai. But now it's Kai's turn. And Kai, the paralysis, you feel it kind of fade away, but you are, what a day. You're prone.
But I'm going to say that paralysis, does it class as poison?
No.
Oh, sure, never mind then.
So I'm prone, so
You can stand up.
Well, yeah. Do I need to do something to see if I can stand up?
No. Like, it just, standing up takes up half of your movement if you want to, like, run away or something.
Right, okay, yeah, I'll stand up and run away.
Okay. So you have 15 feet of movement once you stand up, so you can't quite get away, but you can move back. And you still have an action.
Right, okay, I'm gonna...
And a bonus action.
Yeah. Bonus action.
This would be a great time for you to have learned, what is that thing? Misty Step?
Yeah. Oh, fail.
So what? You did a fireball. You did a fireball,
Yeah.
like beyond where all you are to like this whole left side of the spider. It failed its saving throw,
Okay.
which it should have been at disadvantage for its saving throw anyhow against this because it's basically standing over you. It'd be very hard for it to miss. So roll your damage for your fireball.
Oh, look at all them dice. Oh, there's a lot of
Hey.
6s and 5s in that.
I got blood splatter.
You're gonna piss it off.
Yeah, well, he pissed me off.
And the spider lets out a like a heavy shriek. And with that, you burn up 2 of its legs.
Yay! Is it unbalanced now?
Is it
It's a little
wrong-footed?
weebly wobbly, but it has legs on two different sides, opposite. So as long as it doesn't like move west to east, it's okay. It's gonna get tipsy topsy. But like it's got its legs on to the north and the south. So
Okay.
it's still got 5 legs that are fairly evenly spaced opposite.
Okay. Well, getting there one leg at a time. And that's me done, yeah?
Yelena, you are paralyzed.
Woohoo.
But at the end of your turn, it goes away.
Okay. Shake it off.
Shake it off. And Sprinkles and Terel, we're back to you.
Okay, so do we need to move to another leg, or are we alright just where we are and still attacking?
Yeah, you can still attack, like, well, yeah, you would need to, like, either move north or south to be attacking a leg. Or if you want to do a ranged attack on the center of the spider, it is above you.
Right, Sprinkles can get to there with her normal movement.
Which is another thing I should have made clear for Kim's purposes, too. Sorry, I'm bad at explaining spiders.
Okay, so Sprinkles is going to attack the next leg.
How do giant spiders work?
Sprinkles! Claw attack.
With the
Ooh,
claws
hit.
hit. It's been a few days since like Sprinkles has really earnestly been in combat. She's gotten a little rusty. But she claws a leg for a good 10 points of damage. Does she get 2 claw attacks or does she just have 1?
It just says 1.
Is it 1 bite and 1 claw?
Yeah, 1 beak, 1 claw.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to join Sprinkles to try and help take out this leg. Because I do not feel that my ranged attack is that good, unless the sparking bolts is bonus. I don't think it is, though. No, it's an action. Okay. Bow blade. Attack 1.
Alright.
Attack 2. Ooh!
2 attacks landing with the 22.
I know. Shocking.
So you've done 29 damage total. All right. With that, you take out another leg.
Yes.
Actually, at this point, there are 2 more legs are gone. So there's 3 legs left, and now the spider's definitely getting wobbly. There's some teeter-tottering going on. And it's its turn. See all the damage that's happening. It chomps. It chomps at you, Terel. No, wait.
Okay.
Because you did a lot of damage, but there was a fireball. Both of you roll a d20, and whoever rolls lower is going to get a chomp.
Well.
Oh, so Terel gets chomped.
Okay.
Hits with a 25. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Right, I rolled a 16 then, but it didn't show in the thing. Hang on.
Roll again.
If I get lower now, I'll be pissed. It wasn't that bad.
15. You still saved. You just met this. It was a 15
Okay.
DC. So you take half poison damage. So you take 6 poison. The spider kicks at Kai, Terel, and Sprinkles.
It rolls at disadvantage then at Sprinkles.
It misses Kai. Kai, you're starting to feel a little bit of spring in your step. You've shook it off a little, and when you see that leg coming, you're like, do do do. You do a little dancey dance, do-si do to the side, and it whiffs it. Likewise, because the spider has lost its footing, it's lost 5 of its leg, and it feels it like has a moment where it kind of shakes on its balance as it tries to kick at Terel, and it fails to aim and connect. And then you give it disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And 13 is not enough to hit Sprinkles. So the legs that you've taken out from this giant long legs has taken a toll, and the spider is having trouble compensating for its current state of balance. And all 3 leg attacks fail to connect. So, Kai.
Another fireball incoming, I think.
No. Really?
Where are you aiming?
On the big spider, on his middle bit.
Okay, you're gonna aim it overhead towards the Gushy center.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have inspirations. Can I use one?
That's good though, because there's a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, he's failed.
Yeah, and since you're aiming for the Gushy spider, that's not going anywhere. So again, they probably should have been at disadvantage anyhow. But with the 7, they fail, and so they take full damage from the fireball you've thrown.
Oh, cool.
And we're gonna say with that 27, that fireball gush, you hear this like squeak, and the center of this long ledge, just you hear the crackle, and then you smell like the burning flesh, and it just tumbles, like the legs suddenly collapse around you and just fall like so many logs surrounding you. Everybody make a dexterity saving throw.
I knew that would come in.
And then the center, like the carcass that's like burnt out hollow of what used to be this giant spider, tumbles to the ground.
Sprinkles!
Uselessly. But both Kai and Sprinkles, they get smacked by a falling leg for 5 damage. You have defeated the giant spider.
Nice.
Woo!
Do we think it's edible?
Yeah, in the aftermath, make a nature check, anyone who wants to.
And also, did you say there was a deer carcass? Deer carcass.
There is a deer carcass that wrapped in webbing.
I'd like to know if that's edible as well. Yelena!
What the hell?
Woo!
I guess the giant spiders don't fall into my nature.
Sprinkles did quite well.
Of course, I get an inspiration back, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Sweet.
I'm not sure if I think somebody else rolled natural 1 and we maybe didn't do an inspiration. But then everybody but you has max inspiration, so I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe it's just the spider that rolled too. I don't know. So Kai is strange. Well, not strangely that you rolled the highest on this nature check because you know spiders. And Sprinkles knows too, but like Sprinkles is just making the hand motion for danger. Woo-hoo! Flapping her wings. But she's pointing, she waves her wing towards the deer carcass. And you catch on that, like maybe that's poisoned meat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Kai, you know that spider legs, at least from where you're from, spider leg meat is good eatins.
Ooh, lovely. Once you've
the poison part is the center. You don't want the center part. That's where all the goopy, poisony, gross stuff is. But the legs, those are toxin free.
Okay. Could we take some of the ooey gooey poison and make Yelena some poison arrows.
She can make a survival check to try to what is it? Reap some poison from the spider.
Or you could dip your arrowheads in the middle of the spider, in the poison sac.
I mean, the fangs. Can we just get the if we poke the fangs, will it release some poison for you?
So Yelena has proven that spiders are not her
Not my
area.
forte.
Yeah, they're not your wheelhouse. They're not, you have a lot of experience with a lot of creatures of the wild, but spiders, not one of them. So you try to get the glands out, but you're just fumbling it. That's not really working well for you. Somebody else can try if anyone else is proficient in survival.
I'll give it. Kai will give it a try. Hey, there you go.
Kai, I'm here again. Spiders are in his wheelhouse. I mean, he doesn't like them. No use for spiders.
Mm-mm.
But there's a certain comes from culture and exposure to certain things that, as a kid, harvesting fangs from spiders, that's like kindergarten. So, when other kids do finger paints, that's what little drow kids do. Get the fangs out of spiders.
Yeah.
So, you pop out 2 fangs from this spider. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Super. Hand it over to Yelena so she can make some poison arrows.
All right.
Right.
So 2 more items that I need to make for Yelena's
Terel.
inventory.
Sorry.
Terel approaches the legs and starts hacking them off.
Conveniently, you guys have already hacked off big parts.
That's true.
I think there's 4 of the legs were cooked already. Thanks to Kai. Very useful.
Barbecue legs.
Barbecued legs.
Add a bit of seasoning into my fireball every now and then to make the meat taste a little bit better.
Get some herbs and seasons. Those 17 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
Some peri peri.
Yum, peri peri spider leg.
Sorry, I'm writing. And with that, you bring back a whole bunch of spider meat. Do you tell the caravan exactly what kind of meat it is?
No.
It's chicken.
Yep, chicken. Frog's legs. We found some really big frogs.
Really big frogs. And you present this meat to the party. The caravan is none the wiser. Wait, let me do one thing. Because that is kind of Bellafana's wheelhouse, at least. She knows some nature stuff, I think. Yeah, she's clueless. She doesn't know spiders either. And with that, we're going to take a little adventurous break.
Okie dokes.
Okie cookie.
It's enough spider meat for a good 3 days.
Oh,
Spider,
nice.
spider jerky.
Spider jerky.
Yeah.
Spider soup.
Yum.
Spider sandwich.
Spider sub.
Oh no. Gross.
The
Alright,
spider sarnie.
And then there's spider roll.
Spider roll. Oh, yeah.
Oh god. I'm going for another beer.
All right. If everybody is physically, if not emotionally prepared,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
we will resume with hijinks.
Oh
wow.
First.
Music cue happened. Well, you get back to camp and everybody's settled. You have a long rest.
Lovely.
I mean, that's the benefit of travel. It's not like it's a non-stop siege of the undead.
That's true.
So a long rest is had. You get back. And while you do say that these are like frog legs, there's like, some raised eyebrows about like, well, those must have been some frogs, and like nobody seems to question that you weren't anywhere close to the river. But okay,
They were land of frogs.
the meat was tasty,
Yeah.
so
Nutritious.
nobody questions it too much. I am going to roll to see how successful Terel's measures to improve the speed of the caravan.
Uh-oh.
That was actually Terry's handling of children. I gotta see what his modifier is. Oh, he ain't got a modifier. So,
Not great then.
Terry, it's not overwhelmed. There are signs of future promise, let's say. But it doesn't save. The kids are still a little bit elbows and runny noses come the morning. That they're just a little bit like herding cats without, enough adults to keep them in line. But there's signs that they're trying, and maybe you cut off shave off 10 minutes from the total time it takes to get the little kids back into their wagons and get them situated and get everybody to have a potty break in the woods before setting off. And then the break schedule that you've implemented, the staggered break, that seems to be somewhat successful. So you do, while it's not a resounding, and you're beginning to think, Terel, that Jomont did have a little bit of a point in that with them not being soldiers, you're unlikely to totally regain the efficiency of the caravan.
Yeah.
When it had 20 people versus when it has 50 people. But you can improve. It is improving. So you gain a couple miles of travel compared to the previous day. This is me getting disoriented. It is mid-afternoon, and the travel has gone well. The weather has been clear, sky cloudless, and you're traveling, and kind of lazily looking around the surroundings, keeping an eye out. And Sprinkles is doing her best to guard the caravan. Good Boy is kind of circling around her, barking, like the puppy is trying its best to be a guard dog as well. And everyone make perception checks. Unless, you want to take a nap or something.
Oh.
Kai's keeping his eyes shut from now on.
Both Terel and Yelena spot a tiny little body scampering down the road from the opposite direction. And after a few moments, you realize that it is a red squirrel.
Oh.
Running down the road toward you.
Was this our little messenger squirrel?
Do a history check. Terel's like, yeah, I definitely think this is that squirrel that we met at Honeyfest. Yelena, you're not quite sure, like, you need to see him closer, because, like, squirrels can be very distinctive in their coloring and stuff.
Or not distinctive.
But as it gets closer, you're like, oh yeah, this does look like Tony the squirrel. And as it gets close to the wagon train, it leaps onto the wagon where Kai is trying to relax, crawls up one of his arms onto Kai's head, then uses Kai's head as a springboard to glide onto your shoulder, Yelena. And the squirrel makes some hand gestures and starts to chatter.
Speak with animals?
Yeah, speak.
Let me share a picture of our old little friend Tony.
We saw a red squirrel when we went on holiday in Scotland.
Ooh.
It was we'd been there all week. Sorry, this is complete diversion.
No, it's fine.
We'd been there
we're very
all
squirrel
week.
friendly.
Hadn't seen one. We were leaving on the last morning, and it ran out in the road. Ran in front because it was a very narrow road. So you have to go a very slow pace up and down the road. So we were crawling along anyway. It ran out. It ran in front of us for a couple of 100 meters. Then it stopped, looked over its shoulder at us, and then ran off. Cute.
It was Tony sending you off.
Yeah.
What I think is weird is you see other squirrels in the UK and they're like obviously the intermixed, like where some gray squirrel has had it on with a red squirrel and they're patchy, and it just looks so like kind of like they're aberrations.
I think the one that gets me is, and I don't understand it. So there's a variation of gray squirrels in the United States that up north they have a black squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we saw them in New York.
Yeah, the goth squirrels.
I have never seen one south of Massachusetts or New York.
I think they're only where the elder gods live.
Yeah, something.
Massachusetts and stuff.
New England.
I mean, the grey squirrels kill the red squirrels over here.
Yeah, the grey squirrels are aggressive.
It's not that they've got some kind of
disease
thing that gives them a disease, and it's nasty for the red squirrels. So anyway, sorry. Tony.
Gray squirrels ruin everything. But Tony's here, and Tony's alive, and he's chittering, and you cast Speak with Animals?
I can, because I've got that too. Or both of us can.
I don't mind. Sorry, did you say he approached Yelena or me?
He's on Yelena's shoulder.
Then I'll let Yelena do it.
Okay, I'll do it.
But you recognized him, so... And as you cast Speak with Animals, you hear the squirrel's chatter come into clarity, and he's lecturing. He's like, "Oh, you've made terrible time. What took you so long, huh?"
I just look at him.
Cheeky sod.
Cheeky. Exactly.
Get a move on. She's waiting.
Do I even remember who she is? This scenario. Who is she?
I'm not going to make you run for it. Your boss. You sent a letter back. Okay, let me remind you.
Yeah, I know. I remember there was a letter. He brought a letter, and I know we've got the statue.
He sent the letter about the statue job. Okay,
yes,
but you sent a letter back.
Mm-hmm.
To your boss or the person who gives you work for the Emerald Enclave.
Okay, Emerald Enclave.
Blossom Snobeedle.
Good God, I don't remember.
Blossom Snobeedle. That's because you've only had written correspondence with her.
Okay.
Within the campaign, you haven't literally met her.
Okay.
There's only been references to her sending you to Roosh Fair, to her sending you to get the statue. But she's the person that you've worked with mainly since your mentor who got you into the Emerald Enclave, Greenlee. Since she was killed by the ogre moth during that whole elemental evil cult thing.
I don't remember any of this.
That's because it was 2 years ago in the Lord Jomont.
I mean, I'm lucky to have remembered the squirrel.
It's all Yelena's backstory here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one you report to, and she's the one I mean, Terel, you've had other connections within the Emerald Enclave, but at one point you were like reporting to uh to Blossom Snobeedle at this place called Undercliff, which is like a little like suburb, a little farmish kind of place outside of Waterdeep. And that's where you and Elena were first set out to head to Roosevelt and joined each other as an adventuring party. So it's like under her jurisdiction that you guys were traveling together and met in the first place. But yeah, you sent a note back with an inquiry about, would they want to like pick up a wyvern's egg for Lady Belafana. I don't think you mentioned that it was for Lady Belafana. I think. Do you remember? I have a feeling you guys don't remember. And I didn't check. I didn't check the exact like details or wording of what you sent back, but I'm pretty sure you did not mention Lady Belafana. You're just like, would the Emerald Enclave be interested in this wyvern's egg we have?
That sounds familiar, yeah.
And you sent Tony back with this missive. And enough time over the 3 years or 3 weeks, depending on your perspective, has passed that Tony got back to her, apparently. At least that's what you're concluding. That the her is probably Tony's boss, who is your boss, Blossom Snobeedle. Meanwhile, Kai is like, what's the squirrel that jumped on my head? What's this about? Yeah, so she's waiting.
Yes, we're on our way. We've got the statue.
I'm not talking about the statue. I'm talking about
the wyvern egg. Okay.
Blossom. She's waiting for you. So can you hurry on up? She's down the road.
Oh, she's literally here. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, she scried you. Guesstimating where you'd be. And then she went there, and then you didn't show up because you're slow.
Well, we're helping out people in distress.
Yeah, but this is busy work, so come on. Come
All
on.
right.
And Tony hops off of the wagon.
I guess we're going, or at least I'm going.
Do all of you go, or does just Yelena go?
I mean, we can come with you if you want.
I realize Kai is napping, and that's, is this important enough to interrupt that?
Did she employ all of us, or?
Kai, you are a hanger-on.
Right, so I can just stay here then.
You have never been officially employed by the Emerald Enclave?
Am I being paid by this person?
No one is getting paid by this person.
I'll stay on the cat then.
This is like Terel and Yelena, kind of their vocation. You were assigned to assist Terel and Yelena back in Roosevelt by what's his face? Was it Drusel?
Mm-hmm.
The mayor of Roosevelt said, "Hey, Kai, you slacker, you're doing nothing. Pull your weight and help these people out with this bee problem."
Okay.
That's how you got put into it. So you kind of got drafted, but you have never officially, joined the Emerald Enclave, as far as you know.
But then, thinking about it, Kai's maybe like, well, maybe there'll be some money in it in the future, so maybe I'll just go along as well.
You're keeping your options open, and safety in numbers.
Yeah.
And if you stuck around in Roosevelt, they might actually expect you to work regularly.
As opposed to being beaten up by a giant spider.
Yeah, that was a bit of a downside of the current position. But yeah, so like Terel and Yelena are definitely going, kind of hurrying ahead of the caravan along the road.
Yeah, Kai goes as well, just out of interest.
Kai tags along.
Yeah.
So you go, you kind of have to jog about half a mile. And sitting roadside on a tree stump, you see a halfling sipping a cup of tea. Terel and Yelena, you instantly recognize this as Blossom Snobeedle, Winter Stalker of the Emerald Enclave. And she catches sight of you and says, "There you are." And she stands, and the teacup disappears as she claps her hands together. "We are late."
For
Is that the
what?
royal we?
She kind of opens her arms and, like, kind of like holds her palms out, like she's getting a look of all of you. Checking to see, taking your measure one by one. She peers at Kai a little bit suspiciously. "You have an appointment with the Enclave to discuss a matter."
We haven't finished the last job yet.
The statue. You haven't delivered that yet.
We've been busy.
What other jobs do you have?
We came across a whole town that had been taken over by a
Werewolves,
vampiric paladin,
undead.
nightmare steeds, one-handed giant zombies.
Oh. Have you made a report about it?
Have
sounds
we
like-
had time?
That sounds like something the Enclave should know about. You should probably make a report when you're... Yes. I'll make sure you do that. We'll want to know if there's a active undead population. In the
Well, there ain't any
inlands of the
more.
forest. Oh, well then, problem sorted. Good on you. Well, is that as clean as you can get? You do need to look presentable. Not too presentable. Be respectful, but
It's like,
not too respectful. Answer the questions candidly, but admit nothing.
what are we walking into? What is happening?
It's just a little Enclave meeting. I can't tell
It
you what
don't sound like it. Sounds more like an interrogation.
insight. Can I do an insight check of what the heck is going on here?
Sure.
Insight. Oh, come on. I know nothing.
Yeah. She is
Inscrutable.
inscrutable. But, her words give you enough tension. She looks at you, Yelena, and it's like she can tell that you're trying to figure out what's going on. And she just says, "Don't shoot anyone." And she looks at you, Terel. "Don't smite anyone." And then she looks at Kai. "What do you do?"
I set things on fire.
"Definitely do not set anything on fire."
That could be difficult.
At this point, the caravan has caught up, or not quite, but the front runners and Lord Jomont on his steed is riding in the front with some of his guards, doing the scouting, keeping the lookout as an advance for the caravan. And she catches sight of him, and she gives you a look, Terel, and she lets out a little and exclaims, "Lord Jomont Shieldbriar, your presence is a bewildering turn of events, yet welcome. If you wouldn't mind tagging along, the Emerald Enclave has a matter to discuss with you as well. Spitspot, come on, now, to the forest!" And he who are you, ma'am? And he looks at you, Terel, like, who is this person? Like, should he come along?
I mean, should he come along? I mean, she obviously knows his relationship to, obviously, my past. Which is worrying. Well, I can't really stop him if he wants to come along. But someone has to guard Lady Belafana.
Do I bring my horse? She just glares at him. No, you don't bring your horse. Come along, come along. She said, well, how long is this going to take?
Yeah, I would like to second that question.
It will take as long as it takes. The caravan should continue on its way. I'll send Tony with a note if there's a delay. Come now, to the forest. Come on, come on, come on. The halfling looks over all of your much taller forms, and she says, Terel, you're the bulkiest. Find me a tree wider than your arm span.
Excuse me? That's just rude. And I ride off and find a tree.
I'm waiting, young lady.
Just a second. I mean, it'd be rude to hit her, wouldn't it?
Now, is this? Are we used to this? Is this normal behavior from her?
This is pretty normal.
Okay.
She's your superior, and she's bossy. So it's not that much of a different vibe. You're a little bit thrown off by this whole, like, don't offer too much information, you know, don't shoot anyone, because normally, like, she needs you to shoot people and stuff. But that's a little weird. But, you know, apparently it's like Enclave business. Okay. Swathed in secrecy. Terel, I will say that, you know, this does kind of seem like shrouded in secrecy, Enclave business. This seems a little bit normal to you because your father, Jingo, all the time growing up, for the circle that he and your mother belonged to, and that your sister now belongs to, the Wildwood Lodge, your father would go off on trips at times on super secret druid business, and you remember you and your sister kind of imagining what he's getting up to, because it was always hush hush, and he would talk about where he went and what was done and said, and you know, your sister was always determined that when she grew up she was going to find out what those secrets were, and that was what she did herself, is go into the woods like your father did and be a part of that. And you ultimately had different interests, which led you to squiring at Oakshield instead, so that you could be a soldier. But this is a normal thing from your childhood, is like, oh yeah, secret meetings and druids are having secret meetings, Enclave business in the high forest or something, trees, weird stuff. Yeah, you're used to these kind of meetings being called on the fly.
Okay.
So you find a tree, and though you resent the suggestion that, you know, you're the bulkiest, you find one where you try to wrap your arms around it, and you can only reach halfway. So it's easily, the trunk is wider than you are. And then Blossom inspects it, and she nods like you've done a good job. And then she motions with her arms, whispering ancient words under her breath. And the tree trunk begins to split open with a sharp crack as a human-sized knothole forms, encasing a fresh burrow. Move quickly! No path lasts forever! Come on! In! And she motions you all to enter the tree.
I go in.
Same.
I'm assuming Kai. And Tony scurries along behind. You enter like this very short tunnel, hewn out of wood and dirt and moss, smelling of petrichor, and there's a bit of a swirly feeling in your stomach, and then you take one more step forward, and suddenly you're in a forest clearing. Changing the music. It's a dark glade beside an enormous tree. Fallen logs make for seating in a rough circle. There's a small pond. There's underbrush. There are wildflowers growing all about. Small insects like fireflies moths and butterflies, dragonflies kind of flitting about in different locations. You see also several figures, um, many of them dressed in elements of the wood. Many strange figures, uh, creatures of a type that you have never seen before. So there's Tony the squirrel, which you have seen before. There's Blossom, Snobeedle. She's the tiniest little token. Can you even see that token? I don't know.
There she is. I see her.
She's
Took a minute.
teeny. She's teeny
Oh, that's
next to this
tiny.
huge tree. She's tiny because it's a huge tree. It's ginormous. There are signs of like camp. There are different little shrines. You see various rangers and druid types, hunters, going about their business. But like closest to the tree, there is that like, kind of circle of large rocks that are suitable to use as benches and these logs. And there seems to be a few figures there that are engaged in, I wouldn't say aggressive, no, aggressive conversation might be the correct term. But between where you're standing and those individuals, you see a quiet figure tending to some herb, a deer that is standing upright with vines wrapped into their antlers. And they're working on a patch of flowers, bringing weak and struggling vines into flourish quietly and patiently. And Blossom walks past them, pausing to say, "How are things going? What's the disposition? How are they doing at the delay?" And the deer-headed creature kind of gives a very faint sigh and answers in a placid voice, "She's getting prickly." It doesn't really offer any more conversation, but Blossom seems a bit discombobulated by that. Like that seems to be a very heavy criticism from this figure. Blossom turns to you and says, "This is Antio of the Patient Rose. Welcome to Shadowtop Cathedral." Now, Yelena and Terel, you instantly recognize the name Shadowtop Cathedral. It is one of the headquarters, one of the a fortress of the Emerald Enclave, and you know that it is somewhere in the high forest in a hidden location. In fact, this is one of those places cloaked in secrecy that your father, Jingo, used to visit on Enclave business when you were a girl, Terel. And you know that the location is hidden, and in fact, as part of being in the Emerald Enclave, it is a right that members, that spring wardens such as yourself, at some point have to go through a ritual of finding the Shadowtop Cathedral on their own in order to advance in the ranks of the Emerald Enclave. This was something that your sister Jerel always said that she was going to do growing up. So she could follow in your father's footsteps. And you think, it's been a while since you've communicated with your family. How long would you say?
It's got to be at least a couple of years, hasn't it? Because I've tried to keep away from them even though they know what happened and that I'm alive and everything.
Like publicly, they've banished you, but in private, you have exchanged some letters through
Yeah.
the
So
Emerald Enclave.
we've been in touch, through friends and stuff like that. But I don't think I've actually seen them in, I'd say, at least 5 years.
And the last you know of is that your sister had not uh, reached a stage where she knew where the Shadowtop Cathedral was. You also know the last time that you spoke with or exchanged any information with your family that there seemed to be a lot of new people coming into the Wildwood Lodge that your father is a member of. And there was some concerns about and excitement about the growing numbers. Do a history check though about this Antio of the Patient Rose.
Okay. Can I just say, he looks hot.
I'll worry about you.
You say that out
He's
loud.
hot.
You recognize the name Antio of the Patient Rose as actually one of the leaders of the Emerald Enclave. They're called as, the Emerald Enclave is a bit loosey-goosey, and yet they're still ranks, and yet at the same time it's not supposed to be considered a formal organization, but there's still ranks, and there's still this kind of council of three that is meant to be arbiters over serious matters, things that might involve diplomacy. And you know that the Council of Three, this is something meaningful to you as well, because the Council of Three mirrors the structure of something from the history of Oakshield. In that the members of this council are from different factions. There's always one member from the Fae who is Antio of the Patient Rose, a representative from the Elvish community within the High Forest, and then a humanoid representative. You're aware that the Elvish representative is a woman named Anshalal Civex, and a human named Delon Winterhound is the member of the Emerald Enclave that represents humanity or humanoids. So this is a real higher up as far as you're concerned. This is like the big druid guns. This is an archdruid that you're looking at, and you're like, holy cow! It's like two biggies in one day. Not only are you seeing Shadowtop Cathedral with your own eyes, but you're seeing one of the oldest and most powerful druids in Faerun. It's like almost a legendary figure from your childhood.
Listen, Maliki spoke to me a few days ago. This is no big deal to me.
All right. Okay. Hey, Maliki blessed you. You're big.
Indeed.
You're big news. So do you guys say anything, or do you just keep following Blossom as she moves on?
I mean, I'd be tempted to just follow.
Yeah, just move on.
I don't want to make a fool of myself in front of him. And Terel's good at that.
Like, don't embarrass yourself.
Yep.
You hear a little. By this point, the speak with animals I think is faded, but you hear like Tony make a little chitter, like like he's super impressed. And in the distance, you see a figure ride up. There's a woman, a bow strapped to her back, And she seems to be mounted on a giant chipmunk. And with your natural 20, which I need a drink for, you recognize this from the stories of your childhood as being Anshalal, the elven head of the Council of Three. That's 2 big guns. And a giant chipmunk.
So what serious is going on?
Yeah.
The chipmunk's cute.
And the elvish woman, she jumps off of the back of the giant chipmunk. And she proceeds to the circle where people are having a bit of a debate. There's like one woman there with longish brownish hair tied up. Her back is to you. She's wearing like leather and kind of a green cloak that has kind of a leaf motif to it. And she seems to be talking to a centaur. And they're having a bit of a snipe. They're bickering about something. Also, standing by them, looking a bit uncomfortable, there is another figure that you recognize. Someone who is from your lodge, Terel. Or your family's lodge. It is a bear. Or an awakened bear. It's like a... Sometimes Fey magic can take a creature, a normal beast of the forest, and give it intelligence and awareness such that it begins to live within civilization.
Okay.
And one such case is Broom Honeybottom, who is known to your parents. And when you were a child, he periodically would come over for dinner to your family's cottage. And you see him kind of like standing by uncomfortably, staying on the fringes of whatever this disagreement is. And there's also, by the very, very, very large tree, there is a somewhat significantly smaller tree. And while you don't know this figure personally, you do have an idea that this is someone associated with your family's lodge that you've heard about. And it is a awakened tree named Grindabor. And you think this because Grindabor is carrying 2 kind of plates of stone within its roots, almost like double shields. And you've heard stories of that they're like a pretty mighty fighter that you'd heard stories about, and you always wanted to catch a sight of them in action when you were a little kid because they sounded like really cool battle stuff. Maybe it was like an early sign that you were more into the idea of being a soldier than being a druid or a ranger like your parents.
Okay.
Was a big ass fighting tree.
Hey, cool.
So he's kind of planted in there as well. And there are a couple other
Planted.
Yeah, and there's a couple other. There's like a couple other foreman figures. But Blossom ushers you forward and has you like sit down and the circle, as well as Jomont in the circle. Take a boulder here, take a boulder there. She does have you keep to one side. At this point, the bickering between the 2 people silences as the centaur recognizes your arrival. And listen, there you are. Hey, Jerel, looks like the family's arrived. Let's get this started. And the woman with her back to you turns around And it's a face that is very similar to your own, but different, because the years haven't affected her the same. She hasn't quite lived the life of a soldier, running around through nature, so her hair is less gray. Her muscles are not as developed, but she's of the same height, and she's of the similar features. And she catches sight of you. She gives a smile, which fades as she realizes who's standing behind you and sees Lord Jomont Shieldbriar. And she kind of looks back at you. Panic in
I
the
shrug.
gaze. And she shrugs back, kind of mirroring your body language. Like, as if to say, what the fuck does shrug mean? There's like a clearing of throats. At this point, Antio has stopped what she's doing. She's come up, he has come up behind you. And says, we will gather and have our discussion now. Lord Jomont, your business is separate from this if you would like to wander about somewhere else. Though I suppose you're welcome to stay, simply you must not interact. This is Enclave business that does not pertain to you. And then Lord Jomont kind of defers to you again, Terel. Should I stay?
I mean,
Do you have any idea what this is about?
I really don't. I would say go have a look around, maybe grab some food, and we will obviously find you as soon as whatever they want with us is done, and we can sort out whatever they need for you.
All right. I head for the gardens. I'm assuming they'll fetch me when they need me. For whatever they need me for. And he kind of nods and kind of trips, stumbles off. I mean, I don't know what he does, really.
I breathe a huge sigh of relief when he does.
So there's a clearing of throats, and you realize at this point in time that the circles of the seating and everything has a strange kind of an arrangement of how people have sat down. Has this strange arrangement similar to maybe a court. Because Antio is up towards the front. The elf, she's up to the front too, though she's kind of lingered towards sitting on the branch of the large tree. Kind of dangling, not in a real formal way, just kind of lurking. But she's listening. And the centaur begins to speak. Her name label is on there as Ruzadoya. You don't actually know who she is, but she begins to speak clearly. We're here to discuss the matter of the missive received by the Emerald Enclave from this group, and she motions to the three of you, offering a wyvern egg for purchase.
Oh, God.
Tell me, Spring Wardens, do you have the egg in your possession? Present it to us.
Alright, who wants to do it? Go on, you do it.
Who are you talking to?
Sorry, Kim. See you later.
I've completely forgotten about the egg.
You do not actually have the egg in your possession.
We don't have it. No,
we don't have
it's
the egg.
Lady Belafonte's got it. She was trying to sell it, right?
Yes.
Yes, she's trying to raise funds, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, it's her egg she got off of Euphoria. That's like how you met her, basically. Was
Yeah, right, exactly. This,
she was
this is how
trying
this all
to
started.
kind of black market sell it to Sean the Hermit, but he tried to rob it, and there was a whole throwdown. And she had 2 eggs. He stole one of them successfully, but you retrieved one. And she has it, and you offered like maybe the Enclave wants to we'll take this off your hands. You know,
And she was
give you
amenable to that,
give
right?
you a little something. She's just like, keep my name out of it, but yeah, if you can hook up a little something with your Emerald Enclave, then yeah, sure.
It's back with the caravan.
Back with the caravan. That's a shame. You should have made sure they brought it along, Blossom.
Well, nobody told us what this was about. If you had told us, maybe we would have brought it.
Blossom rolls her eyes, and then she moves to sit towards the front with the other 2, which earns a glare from Ruzadoya. And Blossom said, "This is hardly an inquisition, Ruzadoya. We can talk about this plainly and simply. I don't see why they should have to account for where the egg is this moment. I'm assuming it is safely secured." Now, it is a bit of a question, and Blossom looks back at you, which I'm sure you're going to ask next, is where did they get the wyvern's egg? Yes, that is the question I was going to ask next. Where did you get the wyvern's egg? I mean, I'm assuming a wyvern.
I mean, in theory, we haven't got a wyvern's egg. The wyvern's owner has got the egg.
Who is the owner?
You said she asked us to keep her name out of it.
Everyone is staring at you.
Why do we need to know this? Do you want the wyvern egg or not? I mean, do I know offhand if there's laws against this? Is that what's going on here? Are we trafficking in illegal wyverns?
Substances.
Make a nature check.
Is this something we should have thought about?
Or a history check.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh goodness.
What did you say? History or
History or nature?
I'm doing nature. Oh my god,
Yeah.
the dice do not like me today, guys.
hang on?
That's much better.
8.
So Terel, I mean, you understand that wyverns are dragons. They're in the dragon family, and the egg is highly poisonous. In fact, like the whole situation, how you got tangled up with wyvern eggs in the first place was this Sean the Wizard trying to get this black market item. I mean, it is technically like maybe not black market, but it is something that people will pay thousands of gold for various purposes. And you also know from your time in Amelia Amanitas's magical cottage that a wyvern's egg was actually a component for a spell he was trying to cast before his death that would rejuvenate. So it is a powerful magical component. So between wyverns being considered part of the dragon family, wyvern's poison being very dangerous, and the egg being a magical component of great power, there's some gray area.
But technically, it's not illegal.
It's not technically illegal, but there are lots of circles that are concerned about the disposition of a wyvern egg. Now, this is why I think you offered it up to the Emerald Enclave. You're like, well, it's better they have control over it rather than some other, weirdo that Lady Bellafana might, make a business deal with. In fact, I think the offer to contact the Emerald Enclave came after she mentioned that there was this group out of like Acquisitions Incorporated or something out of someplace, and Yelena was immediately like, "Oh no, we can maybe hook them up rather than those people with the Emerald Enclave."
Okay, so I guess the question is, what do we want to do? Do we have to tell them Who's providing the egg? Because
But
we promised
no,
Bellafauna not.
it's not deliberately a crime to be in possession of a wyvern's egg, as far as you know.
Right.
Okay, so then it's just, well, the seller is anonymous.
I hear that, Blossom. Your proteges have an anonymous contact. It's very, withholding on information, which doesn't make me feel very comfortable about it. You know, if Delon Winterhound were here, he would throw a fit. He would insist on knowing who your source is. And she turns with arms wide open to the two members of the Council of Three and says plaintively, "You know how he feels about the cult of the dragon. And what are wyverns but tools of the cult of the dragon? I thought we were unanimous about that point. Now, what we need to know is, if there are wyvern eggs floating around, are there wyverns? Well, are they?
Oh, are you asking us?
Yes, I'm asking you. You're
Are
the
we,
ones
are we just all
answering the
looking around, like,
questions here.
looking around whistling?
Just. Um.
One would assume.
Assume. Oh, that's rich.
I mean, do you think people are running around with pet wyverns?
Well, that's the question we're asking you. Are you associating with people running around with wyverns?
People? Nah.
Nope.
Make deception checks. A group deception
We're not.
check. Or like
We are.
what is
person, not people.
people?
Oh shit!
Not
I want to
technically
use an
lying.
inspiration.
You can use an inspiration to re-roll that.
Come on. Thank you.
God. Sorry.
Oh no.
But like, what's the average here? Wait, you had a 17 before you, Elena. You didn't need to re-roll.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kai who
It
rolled.
was
God.
Kai. It was Kai who rolled like
Actually,
crap.
Does
Okay, sorry.
Kai need to? Because Kai's not a member of the Emerald Enclave. Because so
Well,
he's just
I was
stood at the
getting ready to
back
ask.
listening.
I was getting ready to ask. I was like, well, is Kai like just keeping like, this is my business?
Yeah, Kai's definitely keeping his
All right, we'll take that first one and we'll forget about. I don't know
Right.
why I thought that other one was mine, but okay. I see the history now.
And I have to roll for her. Oh wait, do I have a her to roll for? Oh wait. You keep pretty good poker faces, but yet the centaur, her eyes narrow. She seems to know that something isn't completely on the up and up with what you're saying, what you're offering up on this subject. And she looks like she's ready to press the point. But then your sister Jerel speaks up. And she says, I don't think this is really a point. I was going to try to do an accent like a little bit northern, but then now in the moment I'm like, no fucking way. No fucking way. I would argue, the Wildwood Lodge would argue, that wyvern eggs are not even a question worth arguing about. The historical precedents, the Griffin Accord of 1288, the year of the Roaring Horn, the Owlbear Proclamation of 1421, the year of walking trees. It doesn't matter if someone is domesticating wyverns at this point. It doesn't matter if the wyverns are skipping and playing hopscotch, or if the wyverns are flying about in the mountains having a bunch of baby eggs. It's not until they're actually used as a weapon that we intervene. Just as the griffins were considered monstrosities, until they were domesticated by the aerial troops of Waterdeep. They found a new habitat and they were reclassified as beasts of the wild. Likewise with the owlbears, created as aberrations in the lab of a wizard. Monstrosities until they found their own place in the forest. And now they're considered den creatures, part of the wild. They're beasts that we accept into our own. And who are we to say that wyverns aren't on a path away from dragons? It is a big assumption on our part to say that they aren't. And until we're given a demonstration of differently, I don't think wyverns should be our business. So speaks the Wildwood Lodge. Rizadoya snarls a little at this. You don't speak for the Wildwood Lodge. Your father doesn't even speak for the Wildwood Lodge. The Wildwood Lodge is to speak. Valinor should have shown up here himself. But I suppose he's too doddering and too uncaring to bother. I'm as much of
Terel's definitely going to take offence at that and sort of like stand up straight, just emanating some kind of mild menace.
I'm as much a member of Wildwood Lodge as you, Jerel. You don't speak for me. And I say I am sick and tired of people using creatures. I am sick and tired of humanoids and their ways, inflicting their power-hungry schemes on the forest. The forest should fight back. And don't think that I'm alone in my opinion. Rizadoya looks at you, Terel.
I stare her straight in the eyes.
You know, from what stories I've heard of you, I think we would get along. You didn't seem to have a problem striking down an interloper. Somebody who didn't appreciate the wild when you had the opportunity. I would strike every one of them down if they gave me a cause. Let's just hope this wyvern egg and its anonymous owner doesn't give cause. The elven woman who has been silent thus far slips out of the tree and lands silently on the grass. And she speaks in a quiet, commanding voice. That's enough on this topic for now. I agree with Jerel's argument. This is not a problem yet. The three of you will guard this egg, its disposition. The Emerald Enclave isn't in the business of purchasing such things. But you will be responsible to see that nothing comes of it that is contrary to our path. Am I understood?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
Blossom was like,
Yes, Mum.
Yeah, like kick Kai awake.
No. I'm sitting there one. This is aside to myself. Like, what does that mean? Like, just
Yeah, does that mean that Bellafora can't sell the egg then?
I don't know. How are you going to interpret it?
Oh shit.
This group kind of disperses.
You know, let's okay.
But
If we're leaving it vague, I'm not going to ask questions.
you've been kind of dismissed by the people in charge. And you see that Blossom has sent someone off to go fetch Jomont. The centaur, Rizadoa, has kind of ridden off, and you see like there's some other centaurs that join with her, and she kind of like looks behind over her shoulder at the three of you, like she's taking one last measure, and they club off into the woods. Your sister approaches Terel. She gives you a hug.
I hug her right back.
What have you been getting up to?
I don't think I have the time to explain it. It has been crazy.
Oh boy. More excitement than I think I've seen, probably. And what are you doing here with Jomont?
Oh my god, I've been trying to get rid of him for weeks.
What are you thinking?
It was not to do with me. I was very unhappy that he was around, but I couldn't get away from him. We're helping someone get to Parnast.
Does he know who you
and-
are?
No, does he, Hell?
Oh, you better make sure he doesn't.
He's
find
thick.
out.
Yes, I know.
Well, and he may not be completely thick. I mean, there were certain things. You may not know this, but I found out that there are a few strings were pulled when you had to flee. And a few people were made to forget your association with the whole shenanigans.
Okay.
Specifically the family, so they wouldn't remember your name.
Well, that makes a lot more sense.
Still, it's probably not wise to stick around with him too much.
I mean, yeah.
She looks a little bit worried. This next business, you might not have too much of a choice, though. Well, I don't know. There's always a choice. Look, I don't envy you having to go off on your own for all these years, but following in Dad's footsteps hasn't exactly been what I imagined it would be. I finally got here to Shadowtop Cathedral, and it's just a bunch of fucking business meetings. It's issues and ordinances and red tape and just all of these debates. I mean, the secrets were all along was just that Dad was hiding how boring it all was. I'm a little envious of you, getting to travel, see more of the forest. And I'm stuck around here, Oakshield. And, well, I guess it's not fair for me to say that. I mean, you haven't got to see home for over a decade.
No, and I do miss you guys.
But it's like to, the chance ever happened, to trade places with you. Just for a little bit. But never mind. Jomont's coming. Probably shouldn't be seen talking to each other. I'm going to sit over here.
I give her a quick squeeze of the arm.
And she squeezes your hand and then skitters off to the side. And everyone turns their attention to Lord Jomont. And
Oh no.
Blossom speaks up. Lord Jomont, I understand that you have not had a perfect transition in your responsibilities as the Lord of Oakshield. And he kind of looks side to side. What do you mean by imperfect? I mean that you haven't been present in Oakshield as much as required. Now, I understand a lot of that was not your choice, perhaps down to your mother and her choice of where to take you after your father's death, but their responsibilities. Are you aware of your responsibilities? And he seems a little confused. Like, I'm not certain what you're talking about. I followed the lead of the god of Oakshield. I thought that would be the wisest course, given the situation of how I came to be in charge. Defer to the people. Isn't that a good idea? The elf speaks up again and says, You have you never been told about the Accord? The ritual, the Accord of the Three. Your father failed to do it during his lifetime. And Jomont interrupts, My father did not have a chance to do it. And the elf retorts, Your father was not the type of person to follow the Accord. And Jomont nods, agreeing. That's true. I heard a story from my grandfather when I was very small. You mean that's real? That's true? Yes, it's true. And your time has come. We haven't had an accord in 50 years, and the cracks are beginning to show. There needs to be rededication between the three factions. Soon. And you will take on your responsibility as part of that rededication. So I am telling you, Lord Jomont Shieldbrow, on the 30th of Myrtle, next year, you will host the Greenwood Gala in Oakshield. And on the next day, there will be a feast of the tables on the Isle of Arranway. And you, along with a representative from the Fae and a representative of the Elves, will rededicate the contract that began the settlement of Oakshield. And you will assume your responsibilities in this matter. Am I understood? And Jomont looks abashed. I'm sorry, but I don't actually know what I'm... We will tell you what to do. We'll guide you in this. We'll make sure you observed, you watched your coast through the whole ordeal, and some people to help you plan. Jerel, maybe you can do it. And Jerel's rolling her eyes kind of like on the sides, like, oh my god. It's some months away. You can continue on your journey. I understand that you were headed east to... What is it? What is the name of that little... Parnas. It's
Hanast.
Yes. You're headed to Parnas. There should be time for that, but make sure that you're back in Oakshield by the spring. And she looks back at the three of you. And you will be in attendance as well. Yes. I think you should be part of this. I think specifically it would be a healing process. And that's where we'll end today's session. As you guys are committed, at least in the spring, to return to Oakshield.
So in about 4 years' time, yeah?
Yeah, in about 4 years' time.
And then we'll be like, who are you again? What are we doing?
Why are we here still with this dick?
Where's Oakshield?
What is Oakshield?
And wait, we're still delivering the statue.
Can we get this? Yeah, can we get rid of this damn statue, please? I think it's still in the bag, right?
Yeah, it's in a bag or it's taking up a wagon. I can't remember what you guys figured out. So yeah, there is this thing, and we'll get into the next session exactly because some of this stuff does actually mean something to you, Terel.
Right. Yeah, I'm assuming I know what these accords are.
Likewise, I'll just say, likewise, similar to Jomont, these are things you've heard stories about because you've never had it happen in your lifetime.
Yeah, okay, well, that makes sense.
But you know, you've heard about it, but you also know that it didn't happen during your lifetime because Rankin Shieldbriar was such an ass, and you killed him. So that kind of interrupted that process.
Can I just be clear? I didn't kill him because he was an ass.
Because he threatened the tree.
Yes.
Which is part of the accord too. Yeah, they haven't held these since Merritt Shieldbriar, the grandfather, was very young, was Jomont's age. So it's been like 50 years.
Right. Okay.
I feel like I was going to say something, and now I don't know what.
Next session?
Yeah, next session. What next session is going to be in December, and is it going to be a good day for people? Because December 21st.
Let me just check.
That's awfully close to holidays. I can do it, but
We ain't got it planned that week.
all right. Well, if that sounds
Yeah,
good, we will play
21st
again
is fine.
on the 21st. And I like that because I think that will give me. I should have more free time to actually. And I actually had a little bit more prepared, just a tad. So that's cool.
So you procrastinated just enough.
Just enough. I hope I was coherent through that lore dump, but I mean, sometimes it doesn't matter because we're not going to remember it 3 years from now, anyhow.
No. Are you kidding me? We won't remember it next month. I've written copious notes and I'll be like, what the fuck?
Oh, I know what the other thing was. This was my other like sneaky thing, and I don't know like what you want to do or how to feel about it, but by like bringing your twin Jerel into this situation, this does open the opportunity if you still feel strongly about wanting to play a druid, Grim. You could maybe switch out your character now and then or something, and sometimes send Terel on things, and sometimes send Jerel on things, or switch over at some point. I don't know. So,
I mean, to be fair, Jerel's my backup in case Terel dies.
yeah. So
just saying.
I love it.
I thought about it seriously. I thought if she dies, sorted. I've got a backup character.
So
I
did this just because your like stats weren't really open for druiding with your what?
I know
your 9 wisdom.
Yeah.
And you didn't use the item I had that would bring your wisdom up to at least 11 or something, or 12. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I'm fine. I'm fine with the whole paladin fighting for Maliki and nature and all that sort of thing. Even though I seem to be now be going against that by hawking a wyvern egg, but yeah.
I mean, she blessed you. I mean, I think you probably have that like little bit of confidence there that like, hey, I was just blessed by Maliki. I'm all right, boo. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're selling the wyvern egg into like intending it for slavery. We approached the Emerald Enclave because we thought they would be responsible with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get his asses handed to us.
And this is just kind of the thing is that there's like your sister's complaining about. It's just like this political bullshit, and there are factions within the Emerald Enclave, and there's some people who are like really anti anything remotely dragon related. Like Ruzadoa and the what's his face I referred to
the human guy.
Yeah, that human guy. You recognize his name? He's like basically the humanoid member of the Council of Three. The Delon Winterhound, and he doesn't like the dragon cult, the cult that was like dedicated to trying to free Tiamat in recent years, which I mean, I can make you guys do like a history check or something, but I'm like, that is tied in with the history of Parnast and kind of how Belafana wound up with Wyvern.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that's kind of where it came from. But yeah, anyway, my point was bringing it up is like, I was kind of bringing her into the game so that if ever you felt like, okay, or, you know, if you die, there is also a narrative reason why she knows any of you now. And in case you like decide like, hey, I'm fed up with being a paladin, I want to be a druid now, that there's that opening there. But
Okay.
I also thought, because last session, you've had a couple sessions in fighting the undead where you just smote the hell out of everything, that you might be flying high on being a paladin.
I mean, it was nice.
And have absolutely no interest in druid stuff anymore because I kick ass as a paladin.
I mean, it's just talking to the animals I like. So that's the main thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I also felt like, and I didn't intend to like totally like be so Terel.
Yeah, sorry guys.
So I feel like I've Terelled and not done enough Kai and Yelena.
I was waiting for that.
That's
And now I've got to remember my backstory. I don't even remember my own.
Yeah,
backstory.
for next time. I think I sent you a document about
I'm
some
sure
of the
you
deets,
did.
some of the deets.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. Really. I like had to dig it up myself because I didn't remember your backstory. To try to rebrief myself on some names, because that actually will matter maybe in the future. And Kai, I mean, all the attention you got today was death by spider.
At least we got to eat it.
Yeah, I mean, you got yours back. You got yours back. And I made that spider more deadly than it needed to be. Because last session was so easy.
I mean,
A little vengeance there.
Okay.
You know, just enough of a kerfluffle that it was still like a little bit challenging, I guess. But yay!
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you, everybody. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good the rest of your Saturday. And a good month.
Yes. I
Thanks.
will
See
speak to you next week. Next week?
Bye.
Next month.
Next month. See you on Blue Sky.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.